Hey, it's Michael, and this is the Kintsugi Podcast. I'll be back in a minute with today's conversation about resilience. But first, if you're interested in creating a better life, having a better career, please visit KintsugiPodcast.com and grab your free workbook on how to have a better life. In it, you'll discover tips and routines so you can find the energy for the things and the people who matter most, so you can create a better tomorrow and create the life and career you desire. I recorded this conversation about resilience during our trip to Costa Rica to celebrate our 25th wedding anniversary. It's all about dancing with fear and how to take on risk. I was preparing to go ziplining for the very first time with my wife, and I have a little or not so little fear of heights. I hope you like it. And if you have a question about today's conversation on resilience or really anything else, visit KintsugiPodcast.com and leave your question, and I will do my best in answering it on a future conversation about resilience. Hey there, it's Michael. Well, all this month, we're looking at relationships, improving them so you can create a better tomorrow than today. Strengthening that relationship that you have with your Peloton, your community, to help you have more joy at work and in life, because we can't do things all by ourselves. So one of the relationships we'll examine in today's video is our relationship with fear, with risk, because we all need to dance with it a little bit differently to create that better tomorrow than today. And we all know guys who walk around with their no fear t-shirts, believing that they don't have any fear at all. But for them, we can say, please, we all experience fear from one point in time or another at work or in our personal lives. So understanding the story we make up about fear and how to deal with it in moments where we need to deal with it to get to the next level becomes important to create that type of success that we want in our lives. So if you're ready to learn a little bit more about your relationship with fear and risk, grab your favorite beverage and let's dive in and help you create the joy and success that you want in your career and your life. So all this week, we're in Costa Rica celebrating our 25th wedding anniversary. And one of the things my wife wanted to do was ziplining. She has no fear of heights. She actually has no fear of depth. She's a big scuba diver. And I have a fear of both. I can go up and down mountains on my bicycles, fly down them at 50 miles an hour. But something about heights freaks me out. It's a no bueno experience. But I knew this, if I was going to spend some time with my wife on this particular activity, I would need to shift my relationship, improve it with fear. So I went back to an old staple, an old acronym I created back in my corporate days, and I also use it in my personal life. And RISK for me stands for realizing I'm strong and knowledgeable. Now, if you've been ziplining before, you know you don't need physical strength to do it, but you do need some mental fortitude. So I spent some time thinking about all the times I had that mental toughness to overcome the resistance before we came down for the trip. So I knew I had it there, but I also knew I needed to do some knowledge work. I had to become more knowledgeable about the risk of ziplining. And I realized through my research that ziplining is pretty safe and a whole bunch of fun. That's why so many people do it. So that was the first step, realizing that I'm strong and knowledgeable to help shift my relationship with fear and with risk. The next thing, I got clear on my purpose and passion, because I'm not sure who said it first, but when purpose and passion can outweigh pain, purpose and passion always wins. For me, it was spending time with my wife, seeing the joy on her face as she would zip through the zip line. I love seeing her happy. I love seeing her joy. It's one of the things I live for. But I also knew this, part of my purpose and passion was when I got through the ziplining experience, it would help me change my relationship or that conversation with myself. As you know, conversation is the thread that brings us all together, but that conversation we have with ourselves is the most important one we have every day, and we have it multiple times a day. So I knew part of my purpose and passion was changing that conversation I had with me, improving the relationship that I have with myself. So those two things, spending time with my wife and seeing her joy and the conversation I was having with myself, was part of my purpose and passion. And that clearly outweighed the pain. So it helped me move to the next phase of getting through this resistance and changing my relationship with fear. The next thing I did was get in tune with the story I was making up, because when we're right on the cusp of something fearful, we tend to make up these creative stories and they become bigger than life. And mine certainly was. I was going to fall off the rope or the cord or the zip line and fall to my death. And the story can go on, but I don't want to make the video any longer than it is. Well, I sort of checked myself before I wrecked myself. I grabbed a PBR, R type, the pause, breathe, and reflect type, and I realized I was making up a story. I was more aware of my fear, and that helped me then chunk it down. We had 9 zips, 2 rappels, one thing called the pendulum, which was freaking me out, and a suspension bridge, which made me freak out the most. So I knew I couldn't tackle it all at once, so I chunked it down into 13 different segments. So I knew I could do one segment at a time for 13 times and trying to eat the whole elephant all at once. And the first 2 zips went pretty good. I was having a lot of fun, but something happened. Even when we chunk things down, our fear story can come back. And it did on the second platform. Somehow, some way, no joke here, I dialed 911. I butt dialed 911, Costa Rican 911. Now, they didn't respond because we have no cell coverage out here. But that sort of set my story back in action. So then I knew I had to breathe again, hit the pause, breathe, and reflect button so I could get ready for the 3rd zip, which I was able to do. And then on to the 4th tower. And at the 4th tower, another sign came, this one being a turkey vulture flew overhead. And I was like, this isn't good. We're sitting ducks up here. But again, another pause, breathe, and reflect. And I was able to finish the circuit, even got through that suspension bridge. And I loved the pendulum. That was the most fun I've had the whole day. That was so much fun. So I got through my ziplining experience. I got to see the joy and experience that joy with my wife. And also, just as important, I changed that conversation I had with myself around my fear of heights. So I know I can go back at it again because I can realize that I'm strong and knowledgeable. And now I'm stronger from a mental point of view and more knowledgeable from a safety point of view on what this ziplining thing is all about. So there you have it. If you want to change your relationship with fear, with risk, remember risk, realizing I'm strong and knowledgeable, understand your purpose and making it more than the pain, understand the story you make up, the making shift up, so you can break that down and see it from a third-party lens, and then try chunking down your fear into bite-sized pieces to overcome your fear so you can pedal forward and really help you create that joy and success that you want in your life.
Thanks for listening, and I will be back in a minute to answer this week's question about resilience. But first, if you wish to strengthen your leadership skills and create that life and career you desire, as well as preventing those bad moments that we all have from turning into a bad day or longer, then please check out KintsugiPodcast.com and find the link about my Leadership Academy. I built it for leaders who don't have access to traditional executive coaching, but who are eager for more. They want to create a better tomorrow. So again, you can go to KintsugiPodcast.com and discover how you can create a better life and have a better career. This week's question comes in from Mark. Mark writes, does gratitude dampen your sense of urgency? I want to bring forward gratitude to my team, especially given our corona crisis and all the worry, but I don't want folks to get too lazy. This is a great and natural question, Mark. I once thought this as well, but gratitude helps us see the building blocks for tomorrow's success. We can be grateful and still thirsty for more at the very same time. Focusing on creating your compelling vision is one start, but then helping your team see the gratitude, the progress that they have, will help them reach your shared goals. Thanks again for listening and being part of my Peloton. If you haven't already, please subscribe and share this with someone in your Peloton. And until our next conversation about resilience, have fun storming the castle.